There's a brutal paradox in life that few people ever understand, until it's too late. We are raised to believe that being kind, open, vulnerable, and emotionally available will make people love us more, protect us more, and understand us better. But reality often hands us something completely different. Instead of being loved, we're taken for granted. Instead of being protected, we're left exposed. Instead of being understood, we're misjudged. This is the contrast we must begin with. You try to heal people by offering your soul, only to be hurt by the very people you tried to save. And yet, in the deepest darkness of this pain, Carl Jung offers us a light, a psychological and spiritual truth that can change everything. Jung said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." This single sentence can set you free, because it reveals that your true power doesn't lie in other people's actions, but in your response, your awareness, and your integration. This video is not about surface-level self-help. It's about a deep psychological transformation rooted in Carl Jung's most powerful teachings: shadow work, individuation, and the integration of pain. Once you understand these, nothing and nobody will ever be able to hurt you again in the same way, because pain will no longer confuse you, it will teach you, and people will no longer control you, they will reveal you to yourself. Here's the hard truth Jung spent a lifetime exploring: the world will mirror what you have not yet accepted about yourself. That's why people can hurt you so easily, because you're still running from parts of yourself. You're still trying to be liked more than you're trying to be real. Let's go deeper. We've all had someone betray us. Maybe it was a lover, a parent, a best friend. That betrayal created an emotional wound so raw that we lost trust in others, and even in ourselves. But here's what Jung would ask. What part of yourself ignored the red flags? What part of you needed them to love you so badly that you abandoned your intuition? That's where your freedom lives. This is not a video about building fake walls or becoming cold-hearted. It's about building a real inner foundation so that no external storm can collapse you again. Jung believed that true healing begins the moment we become honest about our own inner contradictions, the light and the shadow, the strength and the fear, the logic and the emotion. And once you become aware of your full self, your true self, you stop depending on the world to define you. You stop handing people the power to validate you. And that's when something incredible happens. You become unshakable. This video will break down 6 deeply personal truths that come straight from Carl Jung's psychological wisdom. Each point will challenge how you see yourself, how you've been conditioned to react to pain, and how you can finally transcend it. You'll learn why people hurt you, why your mind keeps repeating the same patterns, and how to finally reclaim your emotional authority. If you stay with me through this entire video, I promise, your pain will start to make sense, and from that understanding, you will rise. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone you care about, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, don't skip any part of this video. Every second counts. Let's begin your transformation. Number 1, you are hurt most by what you haven't yet owned. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is the foundation of why we keep getting hurt, again and again, by similar people, in familiar patterns. It's not always about what others are doing to you. It's about the parts of yourself you've refused to face. Let me be honest with you. You are not just hurt by others. You are hurt by your own unconscious expectations, projections, and suppressed emotions. Let's break this down. Have you ever met someone who triggered you instantly? Maybe they were too confident, too cold, too indifferent. That person didn't really do anything, but they activated something painful inside you. What was that? Jung would say they triggered a shadow, an unacknowledged part of you that you've disowned. The truth is, people mirror the parts of us we're still uncomfortable with. If you're overly sensitive to rejection, it's likely because you haven't healed the part of you that believes you are unworthy unless accepted. If you attract controlling people, it may be because you haven't yet stepped into your own power. You hurt because you are still unconscious of your wounds, and so you give people the perfect target. This is not your fault. We've all been conditioned to hide our pain, to pretend, to fake strength. But what Jung teaches us is this: healing comes from wholeness, not perfection. Wholeness means you can admit your fears, face your triggers and say, yes, this hurt me, but I see the part of me that allowed it. That is not weakness. That is the beginning of real power. Here's a real-life example. A man grows up with emotionally distant parents. He learns early on that love is earned through overperforming, overgiving, and suppressing his needs. Later in life, he keeps attracting emotionally unavailable partners. He keeps giving, keeps trying, but ends up feeling abandoned every time. Why? Because his unconscious belief, I must overgive to be loved, is running the show. And until he brings that to light, he will suffer and call it fate. When you realize this, something magical happens. You stop blaming the world, and you start reclaiming your power. You stop trying to change others, and you start transforming yourself. You start recognizing that pain is a teacher, not a punishment. So how do you begin to own what's hurting you? First, observe your emotional reactions without judgment. Every strong emotion is a message from your unconscious. Second, journal your triggers. Ask yourself, what does this remind me of from my past? Third, practice self-dialogue. Talk to the part of you that's afraid, angry, or ashamed. Give it a voice. This inner work is hard. It will break your illusions. But once you start doing it, people lose their ability to control you with guilt, rejection, or manipulation. You see through it. Because you've seen into yourself. Remember this: you are hurt most by what you haven't yet owned. Own it, and you become immune to it. Number 2. People can only hurt you through the wounds you refuse to heal. There's a pattern almost everyone has gone through, but few are conscious of. The same type of person keeps hurting you, but wearing different faces. A cold partner, a jealous friend, an emotionally distant parent. Different names, different relationships, same result. You're left feeling not enough. Carl Jung would say this isn't just bad luck. It's your unresolved emotional wounds calling for attention. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, he once said. That's where the pain begins to dissolve, when you stop trying to change other people and start taking full ownership of your inner wounds. Let's say you have a deep fear of abandonment. You grew up in an environment where emotional support was inconsistent. Maybe love had to be earned. Now, as an adult, even a delayed text can send you into emotional panic. You interpret silence as rejection. So what happens? You chase people who are avoidant. You tolerate breadcrumbs. You keep proving your worth. This isn't love. It's emotional survival. The moment someone pulls away, even slightly, it doesn't just hurt in the moment. It activates every unhealed version of you from the past. You're not being hurt by them. You're being hurt by the wound they touched. And until you heal that original wound, you'll keep mistaking temporary people for permanent pain. This is how trauma repeats itself, not because you deserve it, but because your unconscious is trying to resolve it. Here's how Jung explains this. What you resist persists. What you look at and face dissolves. You're not meant to live your life dodging triggers. You're meant to integrate them. Because when you do, those same people who once had the power to make you feel like nothing will now have no effect on your sense of self. Here's a practice Jungian therapists use. 1. Identify the emotional wound. What situation instantly makes you feel powerless, ashamed, or invisible? 2. Trace it back. When did you first feel this? Who was involved? What belief about yourself was formed? 3. Reclaim your story. Ask, what do I need to believe now in order to feel whole? Healing is not forgetting what happened. It's remembering who you were before it happened and choosing to become even more powerful from the experience. This is why most people stay stuck. They keep trying to protect their wounds instead of healing them. They become guarded, sarcastic, apathetic, emotionally unavailable. But behind all that toughness is a scared child still waiting for someone to not leave. But when you finally become that someone for yourself, you stop bleeding on people who never cut you. That's where true power lives. Number 3. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. Carl Jung believed in the concept of inner magnetism, that who you are, your unconscious beliefs, traumas, and unresolved emotions, radiates an energy that pulls similar energies toward you. In other words, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So, if you constantly want peace but feel chaos, if you crave loyalty but keep meeting betrayal, if you beg for love but only find indifference, the question isn't, why is this happening to me? It's, what part of me is still aligned with the pain I haven't healed? Let's look deeper. Imagine a woman who grew up with an emotionally absent father. She learned to equate love with distance, approval with performance. Now, as an adult, she consciously desires a partner who is warm, available, attentive. But time after time, she ends up falling for emotionally unavailable men. Why? Because even though her conscious mind wants one thing, her unconscious still seeks out familiarity, not peace. Pain can feel like home if you've lived in it long enough. And that's the trap Jung warns us about. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You attract what feels familiar, even if it's toxic, until you do the work to change your inner emotional blueprint. And once you do, the whole world begins to respond differently. Think about it. If you begin to value your voice, manipulative people will sense they can't control you. If you begin to set boundaries, takers will feel your distance and drift away. If you begin to see your worth, toxic lovers will lose their grip on your soul, because now your vibration has changed. And whether you call it psychology or energy, the law is the same. You don't just attract with your words, you attract with your self-worth. This is why no affirmation, journal entry, or vision board will change your life, unless you do the internal work to shift your emotional identity. So how do you change who you are internally? 1. Identify your emotional patterns. What is your default response to rejection, conflict, loneliness? 2. Stop romanticizing struggle. Stop telling yourself that pain is noble. It's not. Growth is noble. Pain is the messenger, not the destination. 3. Rebuild your identity. Say to yourself, I am worthy of respect. I am allowed to feel safe. I am allowed to walk away. Jung's philosophy isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming whole. Wholeness is what makes you unhurtable. Because when you stop abandoning yourself, you stop needing others to fill your emptiness. People can sense when you're whole. They respect it, or they run from it. Either way, you win. Number 4, you're not meant to be liked by everyone. You're meant to be whole. There's a reason people-pleasing destroys your peace. You end up abandoning your real self just to become someone else's idea of who you should be. Carl Jung made this painfully clear. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And becoming who you truly are means not everyone will like you. In fact, the more real you become, the more people you will lose. But they're not losses. They're alignments. Let's break this open. You were not born to be agreeable at the cost of your identity. You were not put here to constantly shrink so others feel big. You were not designed to betray your needs just to avoid rejection. But most of us learned very early that being accepted is more important than being authentic. A child learns to be good when they're scared of losing love. A teen hides their feelings to avoid being mocked. An adult keeps silent in toxic relationships to maintain peace. And what do we call this survival strategy? Being nice. But Jung would say, that's not niceness, it's fragmentation. Every time you silence your truth for approval, you're unconsciously teaching yourself that your needs are dangerous, that your voice is a threat, that your truth must be hidden to stay safe. But your safety doesn't live in being liked. It lives in being whole, because when you become whole, when you stop wearing masks and start owning your soul, you will be powerful in a way that approval can never give you. Now, here's the paradox. The more whole you become, the more rejection you may face at first. Why? Because the people who were comfortable with your compliance will feel threatened by your boundaries. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you cold. They'll accuse you of being selfish. But Jung would remind you, this is not your burden to carry. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And when you do, it terrifies people who haven't done it themselves. That's why the goal of life isn't to be universally liked. It's to be internally aligned. Here's what happens when you stop chasing approval. You start saying no without guilt. You start walking away from people who drain you. You stop explaining your worth to those who were never listening. And the best part? You stop feeling hurt by rejection because you're no longer rejecting yourself. Here's a practice to become more whole. 1. Name the masks. Who do you become around different people? The helper, the tough one, the joker? Why? 2. Practice micro-honesty. Start by speaking up in small moments. Actually, I don't agree. No, I'm not comfortable with that. Watch how your self-respect grows. 3. Write your truths. Every day, journal. What did I really want to say today but didn't? Over time, this awareness becomes action. Carl Jung believed that wholeness is healing, not perfection, not popularity, not applause. Just deep, soul-level honesty. You may lose some people, but you'll find yourself, and that is a sacred exchange. Number 5. They can't manipulate you once you know your shadow. There's a secret Jung understood that still terrifies the world today. People don't manipulate your strengths, they manipulate your blind spots. And your biggest blind spot is your shadow. Jung defined the shadow as the unconscious parts of you that you deny, reject, or suppress. These are your hidden fears, insecurities, desires, and instincts, the parts of you you're too ashamed to admit exist. But here's the paradox. What you suppress in yourself will always be used against you until you bring it into the light. Here's how manipulation works. Someone senses your need to be liked, so they withhold affection to keep you chasing. Someone sees your guilt, so they use it to make you feel responsible for their emotions. Someone spots your low self-worth, so they feed you crumbs of validation to keep control. This is not love. This is psychological warfare. And Jung would tell you the only way out is through self-awareness. Once you know your shadow, manipulators lose their grip because you've stopped being afraid of yourself. You no longer need external approval to soothe internal wounds. Let's use a real example. You have a deep fear of abandonment. A manipulative person senses that. They start creating drama, threatening to leave you, going silent, or ghosting you after fights. Not because they're indecisive, but because they know your fear will make you compromise. Now, if that fear is unconscious, you'll do anything to keep them. Apologize when you did nothing wrong, chase them, beg for peace. But if that fear is conscious, if you've worked on it, if you've faced it head on, you respond differently. You say, if you want to leave, go. But I will never beg someone to stay where I am not respected. That's not ego, that's emotional freedom. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The darkness in you isn't evil, it's unintegrated. And until you integrate it, people will use it to manipulate your emotions, distort your identity, and exhaust your soul. So how do you start working with your shadow? 1. Notice your triggers. What makes you overreact? Triggers are the language of the shadow. 2. Ask, what am I trying to hide? Is it your anger, your jealousy, your need to be loved? Bring it to light. 3. Speak to your shadow. Don't shame it. Listen to it. Ask, what are you afraid of? What do you need from me now? Become your own inner parent. Once you learn how to stand in your own darkness, no one can use it against you again. You become immune to guilt trips, manipulation, passive aggression, love bombing, silent treatments. All the weapons that used to cut you now fall flat. Because you know your truth, you know your shadow, and you've reclaimed it. This is the core of Jungian strength. Power is not in denying the darkness, it's in mastering it. Number 6. Pain loses power when you transform its meaning. There's one truth that completely changes your relationship with pain. Pain is not what breaks you, it's what builds you once you change its meaning. Carl Jung believed that the suffering we try to avoid is often the very key to our growth. He said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain, but most people don't realize this. They avoid pain, numb it, escape it. They stay in dead relationships because they fear loneliness. They tolerate disrespect because they fear conflict. They distract themselves with scrolling, substances, and surface-level pleasure just to avoid being alone with the truth. But here's the irony. Pain doesn't go away when you avoid it. It multiplies. Let me explain with a real example. Someone breaks your heart, they betray your trust, and now you carry that pain. It eats at you in the quiet hours. You wonder what you did wrong. You overanalyze every word. You replay the moment they left. Now, if you attach the wrong meaning to that pain, I'm not enough, I'll always be abandoned, no one stays. You start shaping your identity around that wound. You build your future based on your trauma. You close off, harden, distrust. But what if you changed the meaning? What if you said, this pain is not proof I'm unlovable, it's proof I dared to love. Their betrayal doesn't mean I'm weak, it means I'm now wiser. This heartbreak didn't break me, it cracked me open so something better could grow. Suddenly, the pain becomes sacred, not something to bury, but something to rise from. This is what Jung meant when he said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Pain wakes you up. It shows you where you were asleep in your life, where you were blind to red flags, where you gave too much without receiving, where you settled when you were meant to soar. But to extract wisdom from pain, you must face it directly. You must say, yes, this hurt me, but it's not going to define me, it's going to refine me. Here's how to transform pain into power. 1. Name the lesson. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what did this teach me about myself? 2. Honor the survivor. Realize that the fact you're still here, still breathing, still growing, that is strength. You didn't break, you evolved. 3. Create from it. Write, speak, help others. Let your pain become part of your purpose. The goal is not to live a pain-free life. That's not real. The goal is to feel pain without becoming bitter, to be disappointed without closing your heart, and to be broken without staying broken. Pain only controls those who refuse to confront it. Once you name it, feel it, and transform it, it becomes your teacher, not your prison. Carl Jung didn't give us comfortable truths. He gave us liberating ones. He didn't say, "You'll never get hurt." He said, "The wounds will come, but they won't control you once you own them." That's the truth most people never learn. They keep getting destroyed by other people's opinions. They keep shrinking under the pressure of rejection. They keep trying to be liked, wanted, chosen, just to feel safe. But here's the shift you must make. Safety is not something others give you. It's something you build by knowing who you are. When you know your shadow, no one can manipulate you. When you heal your wounds, no one can guilt you. When you own your story, no one can rewrite it for you. Carl Jung taught us this sacred path to emotional freedom. Make the unconscious conscious. Stop pretending you're fine. Stop running from your pain. Stop hiding the real you for people who wouldn't love you anyway. And once you do that, you stop reacting. You start responding. You stop chasing people. You attract peace. You stop fearing loneliness. You enjoy your own company. You become unhurtable. Not because the world changed, but because you did. This is your power. Now, I want you to remember this truth and walk with it daily. You're not broken. You're becoming whole. You're not weak. You're becoming aware. You're not lost. You're remembering your true self. Jung's work wasn't about becoming perfect. It was about becoming complete. He said, "I'd rather be whole than good." So go forward, not with fear, but with clarity. You now know the secret. Once you learn to face your wounds, master your shadow, and define your own worth, nothing and nobody will ever hurt you the same way again. Not because they changed, but because you did. I want you to drop this in the comments. I choose healing, wholeness, and power. No one can take that away from me. If this video gave you strength, insight, or healing, don't forget to like, comment, and share this with someone who needs it. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful, real growth content. And most importantly, never stop choosing yourself.